Well, it's not me.
As local as they come.
I don't know what's happening.
She's been here for 13 years. And her and her husband, Andre, right over there, that guy. They are avid hikers and nature lovers. And she's going to be sharing some local insiders on awesome day hikes and trips in JBay and around in the surrounding areas. So thank you so much, Chez, for joining us today.
Happy birthday. Did you guys know it's Steffi's birthday today? Thank you. Okay, so I'm Chezanne, hi, and Andre, my husband, and actually probably the main reason that I hike is because of him. And sometimes it's not really hiking so much as just walking, which I also enjoy. So some of these hikes are more challenging than others, and we're going to start with Finstadens. Am I in the way? So the Finstadens Wildflower Reserve, it's about 45 minutes in the PE direction. Currently, you can hike there for free. They're busy discussing whether they should start charging people, so make the most of it while you can. They also do encourage donations. So if you do go there, there's a box you can put some money in, or you can EFT directly into their account, which is probably safer. We really like the forest walk. It's a 3.5k loop, but actually you walk much further from where you park the car to where the hike starts. It's on the southern side of the highway. It's so on the Woodridge side of the highway, and you can change your lobby. It starts sort of on a plateau, very much proteas and other fynbos, lots of birds. Cape sugarbirds are beautiful. So this part looks kind of easy. And then you start going pretty steep down into a forest. It gets humid. The floor can be a little bit slippery. You can move along. Thank you. But yeah, really beautiful. We often go with groups. You should never hike alone since you don't know what could happen. So it's one of the places we like to take people to show off the beauty of our area. A little ravine runs through there. You can hear so many birds. You can hardly see any birds because they're all in the canopy. You can move along, love. Thank you.
Where are the birds? Sorry, I can't hear the end of your speech.
Oh, sorry. Birds. They're usually in the canopy. So you can hear them, but you can't really see them. We did see a blue mantled flycatcher there once, which was stunning. Can you click that play there? So this is just like at the bottom. You can take a look around. You do like a tiny little bit of rock jumping, and sometimes you have to climb over and under trees that have fallen as well. Next slide. Thank you, my lovey. Okay, so you go through the forest and then you come out looking at the bridge. It's beautiful. This is where you're going to take your photos. This is where you're going to drink your whiskey, because every time we hike, we have a hip flask. You can skip there, love. Mandatory hip flask. There it is. Next one, love. Thank you. So you come out in this little like sunny area, and then you go back into the forest, but it's sort of on the other side of the hill. So it gets more sun, which means the vegetation's quite different. It's more riverine. So yeah, the succulents are beautiful, lots of mosses, really pretty. Like everything's a lot smaller on that side. It's quite stunning. I think it's a video. You can press play, love. Thank you. I'm actually kind of grateful that there's no audio. Because I'm grateful there's no audio, since my videos have a lot of random chatter in the background. Next one, please, love. Yeah, so what happens is you come out on through the forest again, and now you've got to climb. It opens up to, again, like kind of grassland, quite warm, can be windy, and then you're up on the plateau. They have a little bird hide off of the nymph trail, so if you are into birds, you can go visit. It's really cute. that day we didn't see any birds, so it was a bit disappointing. But yeah, really beautiful. And on the way home, we stop at Crossways, we have a pie and a beer, and that's our reward for our hike. When you do with any hiking, you can take as long as you want to, depends on how long you want to be there. But if you just walked this trail, I think you're probably walking for about 2 hours.
Best pass.
Best pass. Okay, probably a lot of people know about Robberg. It's in Plet. It's one of the not so frequently done by tourists hikes. Hi, Avi. Have a seat. Definitely one of our favorite show-off hikes. If you ever have people visiting from out of town, this is where you want to go. It's a 2-hour drive from here to Plet. You pay your Cape Nature. Thank you. You're going to pay your permit fee to access the Cape Nature Reserve. It's 60 Rand per person. It's a peninsula, right? So there are 3 trails. There's a really short one. Then there's the medium one, which is the one we do all the time. And then there's a proper day hike, and it's the whole way along. That one, you have to watch out for tides. It is the most technical. I don't know much about it personally, but if you're a hiker, it's on the list to do.
Great trail running as well.
So when you arrive there, there's a parking area, great ablution facilities, just cute little coffee stand that you can support if you'd like to. And so we always start at the loo. It's a good idea. And then we head off on the eastern side. It's the side that faces Plettenberg Bay. It's really beautiful. There's a long beach there where you can often see great white sharks cruising in the waves. So when people go to Plet, I tell them, please don't swim there. It's pretty scary. But the eastern side is the sunnier side. It's really beautiful. Sort of rocky, steep climb. Fynbos vegetation is beautiful. And again, so many birds. And I always suggest people start on the left because by the time you get up after the climb, you're on the top of a huge dune. And it's much easier to go down the dune than it is to come up the dune. So that's the advice that we give people. Next, could we do the next one, my love? We actually were, when we were there recently, and again, when we were there recently, this way, love you. So yeah, when we were there the last time, we had 4 great white sharks all circling around there. And the reason for that is because of the seal colony on the peninsula as well. So you can actually hear them. They sound like old men having a laugh. It's quite funny. And they stink pretty bad. So depending on which way the wind's blowing, you get that, woof, that's nice. But as soon as you head down the dune, it disappears. This is the dune we're referring to. Oh, and yes, so Robberg was nicknamed Seal Mountain by early Dutch settlers. The word rob is actually a seal in Afrikaans, which I didn't know. Robberg, yeah, not rob, you're right, rob. Okay, so you come down the dune, which is beautiful, and then they have this other little piece of rock, which they call the island. Great fishing spot. There's lots of little boardwalks. If you wanted to go and explore, you could do that as well. That was when my family did it. We had lots of fun. So yeah, you come down, there's a beautiful beach. If you want to swim, that's where we swim. I would say pack a cozy. It's probably the last bit of light you're going to have for sunshine since, well, we go in the mornings usually. And then you start sort of climbing back up the hill, very mountainous, very rocky. Watch out, it can be a bit slippery. And yeah, it's the shadier, colder side. So you almost want to have an anorak or something in case the wind is blowing, but it's hot in the sun on the one side and cooler on the other. And then on our way home from Plet, there's actually 3 wineries you can choose from, but we like Bremont, and we have a glass of bubbles and something to eat.
Great tapas.
Yeah. This is probably the most popular tourist attraction along the garden route, and for a good reason. beautiful, rugged. Again, you've got the ocean, you've got mountains, you've got a forest. It's green, it's lush. It's probably, So the Robberg hike, the smaller one, which I believe is a 5K loop, normally takes us between 2 or 3 hours to do. And that's if we take it at an easy pace, include a little stop for a swim or whatever. This one, most people go to see the suspension bridges, they take their photos and then they go home and they've not done the hike. So from the rest camp, there's a sort of a boardwalk trail through the forest, which is made from recycled plastic, cool to know. And then you have the suspension bridges, which are the main attraction over the river mouth itself, which is beautiful. At the end of the suspension bridges is a beautiful pebble beach, and if you go past the beach, you actually start the hike up to the lookout point. So to the trail and back, I think to the bridges and back is 2Ks. If you're doing up to the lookout point and down again, 3.7 Ks. It is very steep. I do suggest, like, if you are going, you want to take water, you want to take your time climbing. It's not easy. I'm not super fit. I lose my breath. I'm like, can we stop? There are some benches where you can sit and enjoy the view. If you are walking with people that aren't super fit, then maybe that's not something they should do. And then, I didn't put this beautiful lock on the suspension bridges. It's like in the shape of a fish, and every year you go back and it's slightly more rusty and a little cool. Andre took a great photo of it. That's the viewpoint. This is what people miss. It's really stunning. So the rest camp is over here. And up here, again, you're starting to see birds. Birds love sunshine. So wherever the sun's shining, that's where you'll see the birds. Lots of different fynbos. It's beautiful. Hiplas. You can see how red my face. You can see how red my face was. It's a climb, hey. And then when you go down, it's easier, obviously. But you don't. I mean, people do run it. I wouldn't. You kind of want to protect your knees, I'd say. Snakes. Snakes on the trail. It is a possibility. Be aware of that too. Well, I don't know. I'm not very good at identifying them, but they always scare me. We did see, was it a boomslang the last time? Yeah, I think so. And then they have a restaurant right there, right on the rocks, where the waves crash up against it. It's beautiful. I've heard the food isn't amazing, so we just have some beers. Okay, lady slippers on this list because you kind of just have to do it, but it is not my favorite hike. It's pretty boring. It's 45 minutes from JBay, which means it's easy to do, and it's only 60 Rand, but it's also really steep. You get up there, it's really windy. I mean, PE is the windy city. We all know about that, and then it's not the most pleasant up in the wind. You park at Falcon Rock, so it's like an adventure center. Please sign in. Please make sure you leave your car registration. Since if you do hurt yourself up there, they know who to come and look for. The latest you can start walking is at 1:30. So good to go early. No pets. Until now, none of the walks have been pet friendly. So they're all within reserves. So you can't take dogs. I say beware of the locals because you probably will bump into people you know there. And again, we just always celebrate with a little something. They have, okay, so there's two.
And there was Carl writing poetry in his book by himself on the top of the mountain. If anyone knows Carl, that's just like here he was. He was just writing poetry.
So this trail is actually marked. The previous ones, it's not necessary to mark them since they are parts, you're following parts. But this one is marked. It is important that you follow their markers. They've got a green and a red trail, and obviously the red one is the harder of the two, and the green one is the easier of the two. So if you go up on one, You can come down on a different one. So basically there's 3 ways to walk this if you wanted to, but I don't think I would do it again. I mean, it is pretty, guys. You get up there and it's the whole farmland. It's farmland and there's the ocean and it's green. It's nature, so it's beautiful. Okay, the next walk we're talking about, I think is, yes, this one. I think we forgot our flask and actually stopped at a bottle store to get a nip. Just for traditions. Traditions are important. If you've never been to the Ferry Hotel, it's beautiful. They've got sprawling green lawns, and it's just a nice place to go just outside of JBay. It's not really on the way back, but you can make it on the way back. Yeah, it's cute. They have a bar, they have a restaurant, so pop in. This one, probably my favorite. Sand River Getaways is sort of on the way to Uitenhage. You cut back behind the mountain, the Lady Slipper Mountain, and they are actually an accommodation. They own the land that the Sand River hike is on, so you need to book an overnight or you need to book your trail. It's a guided trail, so yeah, 100 Rand per person is what he's asking. Get a group together, he'll meet you at Sand River Getaways and then take you through to do this Sand River hike. Why is it my favorite? Because it's a kloofing hike. Kloofing, it means you get wet. You get wet, you get dry, you get wet, you get dry. It's lovely, lots of swimming. Next slide, please, my love. So, yeah, you want to have a wet bag or a dry bag, whichever way. We had a debate about this the other day. It keeps things dry. It's called a wet bag. So, yes, you want to have that because some of the swims are quite deep. So you can't actually just carry the stuff over your head and walk. 4 to 5 hours. You can take longer. It depends how long you want to picnic for at the waterfall. It depends how often you want to take photos. There's so much to see on this hike. Yeah, you kind of want to wear shoes that you can just keep on your feet. So amphibian type shoes with a good grip. I just wear my tackies and hope that they dry without smelling. Yeah, it's very surprising. It's beautiful. You think you've reached the end, but it continues. You don't know where to go. You have to swim. Yeah. So depending on how much rain there've been in the season, there's 4 to 6 different pools. Oh, I called it a dry bag on that slide. So the first time we did this hike, we went with our doggos. Not suggested, they can do it, but there's a section where it's this big pool and then you have to climb rocks at the end. So depending on how good your dog is with hiking, might need a push or a hand or something. It was great with the dogs. The first time we didn't go all the way to the end, to the final pool. We did a couple of the pools and then we turned back because we had time constraints. But when you get to the final pool, it's epic. You're just jumping and swimming, and yeah, obviously you want to choose a nice warm summery day. It's probably freezing in the winter, but it was good.
Do the ducks swim?
Hey?
The ducks swim?
Yes. Yeah, they love it. Thornhill Hotel. Anybody been there? Old, very old hotel in a really small town, and they serve great beers. And if you do this on a Sunday, they have like a Sunday lunch, which is really worthwhile. So, yeah. Okay, Baviaanskloof. Anybody done any hiking in the Baviaanskloof? No? Yeah? Okay. So, it is a nature reserve. Again, you're paying your permit to access. I would suggest you overnight at the hiker's hut if you want to do this hike. But actually, if you're an avid hiker, and again, fitness levels, if you want to drive through, be through the gate, you can do the hike. It must be pre-booked so that they unlock the driveway for you. I thought it was called Pizza Pools until yesterday when I was told it's Pizza Pools. So that was fun. Next slide, please. So Bergplaats is a hiker's hut on a plateau. the Bavianskloof Cliff is a mountainous range, so it's all mountains, again, green and beautiful. You stay on the plateau and then you start this hike. As you come around a corner, the wind just claps you. So make sure you're ready for that. It's technical. It's really technical. It's an old trail. They don't actually maintain it. So there used to be like little logs every few meters or whatever. Some of those logs are gone. There was a fire. Some of them have burnt away. Not the easiest path to find until all of a sudden you start seeing these little cairns everywhere. And then you're like, oh, I'll go this way. Oh, I should go that way. So it's a lot of fun. Again, go as a group. Don't do it alone. 2 to 3 hours, maybe longer. Hands and feet, I say that because you do some climbing. When you go down, it's also steep to get to the pool, so you're sort of slowing yourself down on the way. A lot of elevation both ways. There's a ladder. It's the weirdest little thing we found. So it's also, they're not maintaining things. If you are doing this, beware. It's old wire and stuff. If you can't get down the ladder, you probably shouldn't continue the hike because you won't get back up again. Okay. It's a great hike. And those are the pools. The coolest bird we saw here was a tiny little bird called the Swee waxbill. It was busy swimming in that puddle over there. And then because you're there, you braai under the stars. We had champagne at sundown. That's like sunset on that mountain is just beautiful. So that was how we celebrated that hike. And then Cedar Falls, also Bavianskloof Cliff, but on the far side. So this is on the Uniondale side. If you wanted to go through the Bavianskloof Cliff, it takes an entire day to drive through it. You're going super slowly, although it's only 200 and something Ks. So you would go through really early in the morning, drive through, and then you need to book through the Go Bavians tourism website. You book the accommodation at Cedar Falls. They're no longer accepting day visitors. They used to when we did it. You could stay at any of the accommodations, but now you have to stay with them. So their accommodation is not that expensive. They do have more expensive options as well. The alternative, if you're not going through the Bavianskloof Cliff, is to drive around to the Willowmore side of the Bavians. It's about a 4.5 hour drive. Again, it's an overnight hike, so you want to take that into account.
One of the best hikes in South Africa, day hikes.
It was, yeah. It's actually, if you do the Leopard Trail, which is a 4-night hike in the Bavianskloof Cliff, they offer this to you as a bonus day on the 5th day. So it's lovely. 150 Rand per person is what it comes down to if you had to split a 4-sleeper unit. That's the cheapest option. Again, kloofing hike, absolutely loved it. You need that dry bag. You're swimming through a number of different pools. It's also one of the longer hikes. I think it's about 6 hours to the waterfall and back again.
No, it's 3 hours each way.
3 hours each way? Yeah. And that's the mega waterfall. That thing is so deep. It's super clear water, but you can't see the bottom. It's ridiculous. You can have your head massaged under there, back massaged. It's quite a strong waterfall. And then the last 2 hikes are really close to us. They're both free. They're 100% pet friendly. So a drive out to Seal Point takes 30, 40 minutes, depending on how we drive. You want to sort of park in, they call it the Shark Point or Seal Point parking area next to the reserve. It's a Seal Point Nature Reserve. And I've actually never walked through the green section, the nature reserve. We just always stay coastal. So Andre goes fishing out there, beautiful sunrises. Because it's coastal, it's sort of rocky, and then you get this mega sand dune. So then there's a beachy section, and then you reach Shark Point. And then you can walk all the way to Cape St. Francis. You can walk that whole Cape St. Francis Seals Beach. You could go to the lighthouse. So you can really make a day trip out of this. If I go with Andre, I take a picnic blanket, I take some water for the dogs, I take a book. I found a little private pool there. The pool's coming up. Oh, yeah. So last year in August, there was a shipwreck. So now if you go there, you can see this boat at the end. I don't think you can access it, but it's a new addition to this. Oh, baby, you can go on. Yeah. I found that once. It looks like a little elephant, but it's a piece of debris. Oh, there are seals. There are seals. So if you are hiking out there, especially with the dogs, be careful of the seals. And then this is like between, like if you're going to continue to Cape St. Francis, there's this cute little, it looks like boats used to come through there. I don't know. It's stunning. And on the low tide, there's lots of little rock pools. It's really beautiful. Oh no, I didn't change that text. Skip it, love. Thank you. Oh no, are you going backwards? No?
Let's take the class.
It's because so the last one is the Kawios Reserve, which is amazing. I tell all our guests about it who stay at the guest house. It's free entry. They are constantly maintaining it. It's really beautiful. Again, so much indigenous vegetation. Easy walking trails, which means it's family friendly. Unfortunately, not pet friendly. But you could walk from the Kawios Lagoon straight across the beach to the Gap and back again. That probably takes about an hour and a half. That's really beautiful. So they have like salt pan, swamp vibes, and then beach dunes, and then a lagoon walk. So could you go next, please? So when you get here, I would suggest that you take a photo of the signboard, because once you're inside, you don't know where you are in relation to the next little trail. But all the trails are marked. So just for your own reference to know, like, okay, I've done this, I've done that, I'd like to go there. It's nice to have that with you. You could spend, again, as much or as little time as you wanted to. If you go to the Gap and back to your car, probably going to take about an hour. If you go to the Gap and then over the dunes and come back along by the lagoon, it's probably about a 2-hour loop. And then there's this thing, people keep painting rocks and adding them on, and it gets bigger and bigger every year. Yeah, beautiful. There are some wild animals that live there, guys. Cat prints varying in size. So yeah, there is some wildlife, which is why they say no dogs. And locusts, we got a whole lot of them. We've done this many times. Again, it's something you can do really easily. It doesn't cost anything, and it's just super enjoyable. That's me. Thank you.